Always.
Still a proud fan.
You bet.
Yeah, doing great, doing great. Yeah, happy to be back. You talked up your home country so much, I had to go and check it out.
Well, I still haven't gotten over it, if that's what we're talking about. Another Game 7 loss to Boston. Oh, we'll get into it, but not doing great. I mean, I'm happy to see a new face there. Whether it was Sheldon Keefe's fault or not, um, you got to make a switch, obviously. We'll still wait to see, I guess, this summer if there's a core four change, but the coach change is the easy one. Um, I don't know a whole lot about Berube other than that, obviously, he won the cup with the Blues in 2019. Um, I like the way he was talking in his first interview, just saying like the guys will know what I expect of them. If they're not playing well, I'll let them know. If they're playing well, I'll let them know. Like, just seems like he's going to be pretty open with all the players and letting them know what he expects of them. And yeah, I was happy for the change. And we'll get into Sheldon Keefe being in New Jersey as well. So he's already got a job somewhere else, which is pretty crazy. But I'm excited for Berube to see what he has to bring to Toronto.
Yeah, I like it a lot. I didn't see that presser, but I think that yeah, what you said, Kijo, about he's going to be letting those players know what he thinks of their performance. I think yeah, that sums him up perfectly from what you've seen in St. Louis. And yeah, I agree. I think it's exactly what the Leafs players need. The criticism that Keefe always got was he's a little bit too passive, wasn't willing to really dish the blame. So I think that there's always a time and place for that, and I think that Rue is not going to shy away from it. And yeah, it's exactly what those players need.
I hope to hear like a post game, like a loss with Berube. Um, I want to hear when he talks about like, yeah, we weren't good tonight. Like the thing that frustrated me the most with Sheldon Keefe was, I actually thought we played pretty well tonight. Well, Sheldon, you lost the game. So what's going to change? Like that frustrated me so much. So I'm excited to see how the even the post game press conference after a loss that I'm hate to say I'm excited for it because the Leafs aren't going to lose because they don't lose. But no, I'm excited to see that for sure.
100%. That even frustrated me, and I'm not even a Leafs fan, and I'd hear that. It's like I can't keep hearing this from the same coach over and over again. Oh, I. How long has he been without a job? It's been more than a year, hasn't it? Was it Vancouver? Yeah, you know that Steos is going to be kicking the can on anyone who's available, right? So he's trying to see out, okay, who can I actually draw? And then out of that smaller pool, then you gotta focus on somebody because with all these coaches being hired in the last week and probably some more to come as teams get eliminated, like you got to take what's available to you, I guess. But you're the one who's got to be answering that question more than us. Like I'm sure you've read more of the feedback and the reasoning why they would have chosen him. What do you think about it? You're the sense guy.
Would you have preferred a guy like Todd McClellan? I know he's looking for a job. It's it's just one of those things though. It's so weird. Like we talked about the coaches and just the new jobs they get. Like Vancouver, okay, to their credit, they now have Lindholm and Zadorov. Like they got a couple upgrades, but like when Travis Green was their coach, they were not good at all. Like at all. And then now they lost in game 7 in the second round to a very good Oilers team. Like it's hard to see how you can think that Travis Green is like he wasn't good in Vancouver, and will he change in Ottawa? Obviously, you hope so, and all the Ottawa fans do too. It's funny how it works with the coaching changes.
at least like Folks, the thing that you've been just hammering the table about the last few years is just change from management. So at least you're seeing a new leaf being turned. So I think that as a Sens fan, you got to take that as a win for itself. Like you've got a new face at least, so there's a bit of a fresh start there. Let's see what kind of chemistry that the coach can build with the players and vice versa. And fresh season, see what happens.
I don't know. It's kind of like the same thing with Travis Green, I guess. And again, any other coach that has once coached an NHL team, if they get fired, they always get another job. Um, I don't know. I guess he won't have to answer any core four questions, so maybe that'll be nice. And maybe he'll do better in a market where, like, not like Toronto, where they're asking every day about stuff that you wouldn't think that other markets ask about, and the media is just really tough. I don't know. We'll have to see because the Devils were supposed to be a lot better than they were this year. I know they had some injury issues, but hope he does well. I'm sure they'll find a way to put the Leafs out next year somehow in playoffs, so you can just see it happening. Loved it. Loved every second of it.
You know what? The Panthers are one of those teams where they've got to be right up there top three for teams with players that are just going to be dropping shots like that kind of behind the play, like making their presence felt, whether it's Kachuk or Bennett or Gudis on the back end there. Like if that's a player from any other team, it's probably like, okay, maybe that was incidental, but you see it's a Panthers player, it's like, they're a little bit more known for this. It wouldn't really surprise me if the truth came out on that one. But he hit it really well, and so it kind of like, what do you do? What do you do from the disciplinary side of things when that other camera angle comes out a couple days later? I I don't know. If the broadcast didn't catch it, you can't expect the refs to catch it in the moment.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
one's. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was just gonna say it's like we mentioned. It's just when he does that so much, like Marchand is known for that. Like to see him get a taste of his own medicine is like honestly kind of refreshing in a way. I know it's not good when somebody gets punched in the head, but I don't know. I just when I saw, even though Leafs were out, when I saw Marchand to miss a couple games, I can't help but to sit back and just smile a little bit.
Yeah,
But
that
even the
one's.
goalie interference, even like the goalie interference where he cross checks the defenseman right on top of the goalie, then puts the puck in, it's like, I guess you kind of have to have players like that because in the playoffs where the game opens up a little bit and the refs are more likely to just let the play go, you got players like that. It's going to pay off at some point. Like you're going to have situations like that where the players are willing to go a little bit over the line and it just works out in your favor.
Yeah, yeah. I don't mind it. It kind of begs the question. You know, are players trying to intentionally injure opponents in playoffs? And
For
I know,
sure.
like, yeah, when I played, it's a series, it's a battle. So, it's about playing on the edge and not crossing that line to the point where you get a suspension or take a 5 minute major and hurt your team, but certainly playing a certain way that is, you know, all's fair a little bit come playoff time. I think so. It's a battle. Yeah. So, moving on to the next series there, that happened in the last round, the Oilers versus Canucks. Before we get to that, there was a little bit of a mic problem. I guess my mic was bugged a little bit. So if you're just tuning in, apologies for, if you were listening, apologies for the kind of gaps that you might have heard. You didn't really miss much. It was probably just me complaining about the Sens and about how their coaching changes they made haven't been the best, and how it's all about the players, and mixed in with a few jabs here and there about the Leafs. So getting into the next series of round two that happened, before we touch on the round three matchups, it was the Oilers and Canucks. And in my opinion, this was the best series of the playoffs so far. It was McDavid and Draisaitl just putting on a show, and Vancouver also just they impressed me a lot as well too. So um, obviously Oilers winning that, they're now the last Canadian hope. So what was your take on that series, Kijo? Going 7 games.
Um, Credit to the Canucks. I mean, a lot of people, including myself, would have thought the Oilers are just gonna bounce them in five. Like they're without Demko, and then DeSmith, he goes down, and then they get the third string goalie coming up. Obviously, they lose Brock Besser for Game 7, but they never quit. Like even, and they weren't getting many shots on goal like ever. So and they were giving up a lot. So like I said, their goalies were holding them in it. Their third string goalie. But yeah, they never stopped. Even Game 7. It was a later game, and I figured I'd watch a little bit of it. I watched Oilers go up 3-0, and I'm like, okay, like I'm going to bed. The Oilers are all over them. Game's over. I wake up in the morning and see that it was a 3-2 final. Like that just shows it was a good little summary of the whole series. Like no matter what happened, what adversity they faced, they always came up to make it a good game and a good series in the end. So full credit to the Canucks.
Yeah, it was they did not go quietly into the night, and it was almost an arty party with the win there. So they didn't end up getting it done. Now Oilers are the last team last Canadian team in it, and they're facing off against the Dallas Stars now, and Dallas looks really strong in my opinion. Um, do we think that McDavid and Draisaitl finally get over the hump? That they've made it to the conference finals before. Is this the year where they get over that hump and get to the Stanley Cup Finals for a chance to win it all?
Let's hear it, Rory.
Rory, you
Uh,
go.
yeah, yeah. I want to see McDavid's he's creating the plays, but I want to see him put the puck in the back of the net. I think that Draisaitl, he's always improved and found a next level in playoffs, and like their power play is clicking, and they're doing great like up ice, but it's Stuart Skinner's kind of making you ask some questions, and how Otter's playing on the other end, like it doesn't look like there's that many holes in Dallas's system at all, and how they kind of handled Colorado. It's like yeah, they gotta look they must have the edge on in this series. I would think, gambling wise, even with the lines, I bet that they've got the edge there. Um, I would love to see Edmonton go on as the Canadian team, but I think that it's going to be a great series.
Yeah, that is going to be a good one. And just the play of Miro Heiskanen as well, and on Dallas, and the young stars that they have there, like Wyatt Johnson and Stankoven. It's They look really really well, like they're buying into their systems. They're playing great hockey. The one area where I think Oilers might have the edge is just on the power play. Their percentages in this year's playoffs, power play for Oilers hovering around 37.5%, and the Stars penalty kill is third last this playoffs, and it's only at 69.2%. So there's opportunity there for the Oilers if they can capitalize on the power play, which they're going to have to do against a really good Dallas team that plays a good defensive game. They're going to have to capitalize on the power play, and yeah, hopefully they can pull it out. I'm rooting for them. But again, in terms of who wins the series, I feel like Dallas is going to win this one. I hope I'm wrong though.
I got a question for you guys, a little bit out of nowhere, but can I get a Conn Smythe winner from both of you with four teams left? Who do we think is winning the Conn Smythe?
Oh, I mean, I didn't even get to see a game from round two. I'm a little behind here, folks. You go first.
I'm sticking with my original prediction that the Panthers are winning the cup, and I'm going with Bobrovsky. I know it's a bit of a bold take because the Rangers are favorited right now, but uh, I'm going Panthers.
So, just for the record, Bobrovsky right now, Conn Smythe winner, plus 1,800.
There we go.
Who's the favorite?
It's got to be
The favorite
McDavid.
is Ottinger.
Ottinger.
Okay.
Okay. What's McDavid on?
McDavid's third. It's Ottinger plus
Wow.
350, Shesterkin plus 450, McDavid plus 550.
Wow.
Goalies are always favorited, and I don't think a player's really popped off enough to kind of steal the limelight away from the goalies.
Other than McDavid. And I don't want to hear anyone ever say again that Matthews is even in the same realm as McDavid. I don't even want to entertain that. Don't even mention
He's a better
it.
goal scorer.
Don't even no.
He
not
is.
in the playoffs. Not in the playoffs.
He's whatever.
I don't
We
even
watch
want to listen
The regular
to that
season's longer
argument.
anyway.
And, yeah, the regular season where it's at.
Okay,
I don't even want to hear it.
Let's reel it in.
Yeah.
I
And
actually
I'd
also
even
have a
go as
question.
far. I know I could go as far as saying Draisaitl. I would take Draisaitl over Matthews, but call me crazy.
I
I know
ask who's
people will
winning
call
the
me
Conn
crazy.
Smythe. I ask who's winning the Conn Smythe, and Felix finds a way to rip Matthews. That's just great.
Yeah, where is this
Yeah.
coming from?
I'll tell you who's not winning the Conn Smythe. This is Austin Matthews. That's who's
Rory,
not
let's
winning.
hear it. Sorry, I'll give you a little more time.
Yeah, give her.
My pick, he's a little bit down the list, a little bit could win some money on it, is Chris Kreider at plus 6,000.
Ooh,
Wow.
he got the hat trick to just pretty much win the series for the Rangers, right, over the Canes.
Mhm.
How about, doesn't Hyman have 10 goals in the playoffs already?
He does, and he's
Probably all
plus
from around the
10,000.
crease. Yeah.
Really?
Probably.
Well, yeah, because it's hard when you know that he's lifting the piano. McDavid's playing it.
Yeah.
Yeah, $10 on Hyman would win you just over $1,000.
If the Oilers win the cup, it's McDavid winning the Conn Smythe. There's not even a. That's
Or
not a question.
Draisaitl. It could be
It could be
Draisaitl.
Draisaitl. It really could. He's been terrific as well. They're on par with each other. I don't think anybody else on that team would deserve it.
No, definitely not. I got a question for you guys though. When you guys, Oilers and Nucks went to Game 7. Did you guys have a preference on who won? Just before I elaborate.
My preference was Oilers, just because I would love to see McDavid finally win a cup. I know the Flames fans out there probably are a little bit sour about them winning, but Oilers for me was my preference.
Mine was also the Oilers because underneath my Leafs jersey is always a nice Oilers jersey. So
Come on.
when the Leafs get bounced, the Oilers jersey comes out. Also, I have some money on them to win the cup, so I'm rooting for them.
There we go.
You got an East and a West team. That's nothing wrong with that.
Yep, start of the playoffs, I took the Rangers to win the cup and the Oilers to win the cup. So still doing all right.
Yeah.
Okay,
So.
that's a bit of a different reasoning than I was thinking. I was just in the camp of whichever's the best Canadian team, I hope wins. And I wonder if, I think in the end, I think the Oilers are the better team. But I wonder if my opinion would have been changed if Demko would have been ready to come back for Game 1 of Round 3.
Yeah. That's a guy that could just really steal a series for you.
Exactly.
They lost out on having him. That sucks for the Canucks.
And no Brock Besser would have been tough for them too.
Because he goes down with an injury. Yeah. So I'm glad the Oilers won. So their first game is going to be Thursday night. And yeah, that's going to be a great series like you guys were kind of elaborating on there. The other final conference final matchup is the Rangers versus the Panthers. Game 1 is tonight. Who do you guys have winning that series?
Let's hear yours,
Rangers.
Rangers for Rory. I'm going Panthers. I think that Matt Tkachuk and company are going to rally the troops. And, I think they're still a little upset from last year's Cup final loss. So I think that they're ready to potentially take the next step. I had them all the way. I think that, Rangers are a great team. That's not a slight on the Rangers. I think it's going to be a great series. I'm curious to look at the matchup of Trocheck versus the Panthers because he's a Ranger now and he's going against his old teammates. So that's one thing that I'm kind of keeping my eye on this series. And the goaltending matchups too is going to be great. Who do you have, Kijo?
I like the Rangers in 6. Lafreniere gonna have a big series.
Yeah.
Ooh, you've been making some bold, not so bold, but predictions that have actually you've nailed them. So
Yeah. Other than his Leafs winning the
yeah,
cup
let's see.
prediction,
Yeah.
that was
Well,
the one.
we set those in a
Yeah,
different bucket.
that's right. Yeah, just like the Sens were making the playoffs this year. So
Speaking
we
of
have our
the
misses.
speaking of the Cats being motivated, though, did you see Kachuk at the end of that series against the Bruins when they cleared the zone off the face-off? And he was actually just he was on the ice and he was jumping up and down, 5 seconds left, waving his
I
hands
did see
around.
that.
And it's
Yeah.
like, yeah, I've never seen that from a player when it's not game 7, it's not overtime.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I got to loop back on that after, but
You got to keep your
yeah,
emotions in check. That's for
it's
sure.
yeah, but that made me think of the Matt Duchene celebration in the second OT. And he does the heartbreaker. He does the Patrick Kane celly. Like, what?
That was nasty though. That Selly was nice. I will admit, and it's against his former team too, Colorado.
Oh, that's
team
true.
that drafted him.
I didn't think about that
Man,
narrative.
the heartbreak for Colorado fans there. That's tough. And then even still, that just on Duchesne for a split second, he was at one time a Senator too, and it's like having that good mix of veteran guys and young guys is what you need to succeed, and Dallas has that right now perfectly. They've got some older veteran guys, Pavelski, Jamie Benn, Matt Duchene, all leading the way, and then the younger guys coming up too, Wyatt Johnson, Stankoven. They've got even Robertson's 24. Heiskanen's still young. It's like that. They look good. Dallas looks good.
What a feeling it must be to have a goaltender in your franchise who's young and you know he's a stud. Like, that's got to be the most comforting feeling being a fan of a team.
I would not know what that feels like. But neither would you, really, Kijo. As I mean,
No,
goaltending's been a
definitely
bit of
not.
a
None of
question
us.
mark. None of us.
None of
Yeah, I
us.
mean, it's tough. Goalies are hard to come by. They're hard to come by in the league. So it's yeah. I think it's going to be, well, we'll see who wins with between Rangers and Panthers. Those are two teams that got great goaltenders as well. And I'm excited to see that series. Both these matchups that are left are going to be really good. Hoping that the Oilers can make it on and Cup can come back to Canada, but we'll see. They're in tough against the Stars there. So why don't we end things off talking about the NHL draft lottery, which happened. No like major surprises. Like it wasn't like the Oilers when they won the draft and it was rigged and they got Lafreniere and things like that. It ended up being top 3 were, well, Sharks have the first overall pick. They win the draft lottery, then the Hawks, and then the Ducks. So no changes there. Sharks winning it. They're going to get Celebrini. And then sort of it's up in the air. There's some really good defensemen that are going to be drafted this year that are supposed to go high. It goes Columbus 4th, then Montreal 5th. Montreal, I would imagine, is going to be targeting a forward. I would assume so. They've got a good group of young defensemen already, but who knows? You can never have too many good young defensemen. Utah picks 6. They're going to be their first ever draft pick as the Utah Hockey Club, we'll call them.
They're going to pick a good winger to play with Mitch Marner?
Who knows? Maybe we should end off this episode too with talking about some potential Utah names as well.
They're definitely announcing it at the draft table.
Yes, that'd be an epic way to do it. Or they just pull like a Washington football team and call them Utah HC for a year, and I don't know, not rush into it. There's that logic. Sens pick 7th. Supposed to be targeting a defenseman as well, which is good because we need as much help as we can get. Wings are picking 15th, and Leafs pick 22nd. Sens also have a pick later on in the first round. Those are kind of summing up our teams there. Some good names. I'm curious to see. There's a Michigan State defenseman actually this year that's supposed to go top 5. I'm curious to see where he falls as well too. But who's Wings going to be targeting kind of middle around there at 15th overall?
I think it'll be a forward. You've got, yeah, like you said, Celebrini's obviously the consensus number one. And then you got a couple really good Russian players who are going to follow that, I think. And then, yeah, like you said, defensemen. There's a cluster of defensemen, and I think it fits pretty well with the needs of the teams that are going to be picking in those slots. And so I think that there's going to be some decent forwards that get pushed to the towards the middle of the draft. So I think that that is where the Wings are going to go. I'm not super in tune with the players this year. I haven't been following it as closely this season, but just based on positional need as well. The Wings have been very defense and center heavy the last few years, and aside from like the Raymond pick on the wing, which has played out pretty well, they got Kosa, who I just checked. He's played 40 games in the AHL. He's got decent numbers there, so the prospects still need to turn out. So I don't think that they could go wrong any which way, but I think that they're a little more defense heavy. So
Yeah.
I'd hope for a forward there.
If the Calgary Flames don't manage to draft T.J. Ginla, that will be the biggest disappointment of the draft for me. I mean, he needs to go there somehow. They need to make it happen. If
I think
it's
they're picking too soon. I think they're picking too soon for him. But
Reach. He's been great though in U18s.
Yeah,
Reach. I can see. Seriously though, like a guy that's a. You probably can assume he's going to be in the NHL just coming from like. He's going to be an NHL player. I don't know how good of an NHL player he'll end up being. Obviously, Jerome Ginla is a Hall of Famer, and T.J. Ginla, we'll see. But I think, yeah, he's got to go to the Flames. If he goes anywhere else, I'll just be disappointed. But he looks good. There's a few other guys, some other forwards as well that are looking good.
What do you hope for, folks? What do you hope for at 7?
I'm hoping for a right-handed shot defenseman. We are absolutely thinned out on the right side. Our left side is full. We have Shabbat, Sanderson, and Chikrin. And I've been harping on that we should move one of those guys. I thought we should have moved Chikrin maybe even at the draft this year to move up or to whatever it may be to clean up that left side because it's so full right now. And specifically right-handed defenseman that I'd be interesting is Zane Parekh from Saginaw. And he's kind of a super offensive defenseman. And I think that's just what we need is like more skilled defensemen that can move the puck. I mean, you're either going that or you're going with a left-handed defenseman. He's really the only right-handed defenseman that could be targeted at that pick. So I'm hoping for him, and if not, I'm going to defenseman. There are some good forwards out there as well too, at that spot.
Yeah, I don't know if any of those other D play on the right side at all, but like I've seen that Dickinson play
from London
a few games before, and he looks really good.
Yeah,
really good, and also heard really good things about William.
Yep, that's another guy, William from D1. He's playing for University of Denver. That would be a good pick.
The Sens also have versatility. They got options with 2 first-rounders. If they're feeling like throwing some fireworks out, they can make some moves.
That's what I think too. Like Sens right now have one of the weakest prospect pools in all of hockey. They have absolutely no one left in their system coming up.
But that's because all their young players are on the roster.
Yep,
yeah,
exactly.
So nothing wrong with that, I would say.
Yeah, but it'd be nice if we could replenish the stock a little bit with some, like having multiple picks in the first round would be nice. But I wouldn't mind moving up from that second pick, moving up a little bit, or potentially even like packaging a big deal. Honestly, I don't mind us picking at 7 though. Maybe if we move up a couple spots, then we can get a better higher end defensive prospect. But if we pick at 7 and we pick the best forward available at the time too, that'd be a good pick. So at 15, who are you kind of hoping Wings target?
I'm not even sure, honestly.
Stevie Y is going to target somebody that's
so
going to be a superstar. So
I forget his name, but there is a Finnish player who's playing in Liga, so the professional Finnish league, and Iserman loves picking players that are playing against men and already playing professionally. So I that wouldn't surprise me reaching there, because he's gone to like the Swiss League before and with the SHL. So that's yeah, I'm forgetting his name. I think his brother was drafted a few years ago, but yeah, for
probably thinking of Consta Hellenius.
Yes.
Yeah. And then, well, obviously picking later on in the draft too. That's the important part, I think, is because you got to hit on your even later first round picks. So if you're the Leafs, like even last year, tremendous job. They get Easton Cowan. I know a lot of guys at the start were questioning that, but goes on this year to have a great, amazing playoffs for the London Knights, leads them in scoring, and they're off to the Memorial Cup, and he's one of the leaders on that team. That's a hit. That's what you need to do if you're drafting late to be able to stay relevant. I think that's it's you got to hit on these picks. So Leafs pick late first round, Sens are going to be picking late first round. Those are picks that you still got to land on.
Yeah, you want to hit them, but you also have to be realistic that pretty much anyone picked outside the top 10 are more than a couple years away, usually, from actually, never mind cracking the lineup, but actually even making an impact. So
yeah,
it's fun to watch their progression, though, and the development.
Yeah, exactly. And it's nice because those are usually the guys that you're going to see next year at like World Juniors or something too. So
yeah.
It's those are nice picks to keep an eye on. We'll do a full mock draft analysis a little closer to the draft. For now, why don't we just end off with maybe some potential Utah names? They already got a basketball team there, Utah Grizzlies. So let's think hockey though. What do we think for Utah?
Got to turn on the creative juices here.
Yeah, I know.
I don't have a clue.
Utah Ice is kind of cool. Utah Ice would be cool. I've heard a few options, like Mountaineers. I've heard there's a few good ones that are out there that have been thrown around. I don't know if you guys have any that you've heard. Any ideas?
The Utah Yetis. That was one that just came to mind. There's no way.
That's got a nice ring to it, though. That's got a nice ring.
Yeah, it's got a decent ring, but there's no way that that's a team.
Yeah. So, in terms of, I think there's like going to be a fan vote actually for these names as well too. I don't know if it's going to officially decide it, but I guess there's a fan vote that's going on for it where there's 20 finalists and fans can choose which team name it is going to be. I'll read some off here. Actually, I got the list up in front of me here. All right. Utah Ice, Utah Mountaineers, Utah Fury, Utah Freeze, the Utah Canyons, the Utah Blast. There's Utah HC. That's one of the options that fans can vote on if we're going like the Washington football team there. Utah,
0 vote.
The Utah Caribou, the Utah Blizzard, the Utah Venom, Utah Mammoth would be cool. That's kind of a cool one. Utah Swarm, Utah Glaciers, the Utah Outlaws, the Utah Frost, the Utah Squall. I don't know how I feel about that one.
Honestly, I don't like any of those names. And who is coming up with these?
The Utah Hive. What about the Utah Powder?
The powder.
Yeah, they should have called it Vegas Golden Knights
What is
powder.
that logo? What is that logo?
I don't know what the powder could be. I don't know what they're referring to there. And then Utah Yeti, last option there. There's the Utah.
Oh,
Yeti.
no way.
The Utah Yeti's on there. So those are your 20 choices that the fans can select up to 4 for their favorite. So that's where we're at. I kind of like the Ice or the Blizzard. Mammoth would be cool. I think you could have a sick logo if you were the Mammoth.
the Mammoth is cool. Something that I kind of like, and I like what the Kraken did, is a team name that it doesn't end with an S is kind of refreshing. Like that's every single team in the
Yeah.
NHL.
Yeah.
It's like pluralized, right? So something like that. It's just it sounds more simplistic, and I don't know. I like that touch.
Yeah. Yep. Very good. So, why don't
I
we
got
go ahead?
one final thought here before we end off. Obviously, you guys know, kind of on a sad note, been thinking about Darren Detition passing away. That's a heartbreak and a tough loss for the broadcasting and just like I don't know if you guys feel the same, but every morning when I got up and it was Saturday morning, you throw on Sports Center and there was Darren Detition. That's a tough loss when you see like celebrities, and I know it's not like a movie star or anything, but sometimes when people pass away, it's always sad. But this one actually really got me. It did. Thinking about Darren Detition coming on, like I said, in the morning and watching Sports Center, and I feel like even if it wasn't a good sports night, if the person doing the highlights and talking about them is good, like Darren Detition was, it makes for a good Sports Center episode. So thinking about Darren Detition this week, that was a tough loss for the hockey community and sports in general.
Yeah, definitely feeling that, Kijo. You remember him for the Saturday mornings. I remember him for the after the NHL games, and you'd have the late night Sports Center, and he would usually be on those segments. And yeah, exactly. It's all about the personality that they bring to the show. And he had a lot of great one-liners that would crack my dad up a lot, actually. So yeah, it's cool, those memories that kind of come back to you. So yeah,
I remember him for the guy being up there with Pierre Maguire, where he's like, "You're an analyst with a long stick." You guys remember that one? Maybe one of Pierre Maguire's most awkward moments.
he's got a lot of them.
Yeah, he's got a lot of them. That was hilarious to me, but way too young. Like that's 58 years old when he lost his battle with cancer, and just like that's crazy. It really puts things into perspective when you hear a guy that young passing away who seemingly healthy and in good shape, and yeah, that's just really unfortunate, and yeah, it's unfair at times like that. So it's yeah, certainly going to be missed in the broadcasting community. So yeah, that's tough. Transitioning kind of back towards what we're looking forward to for the rest of the year. Stanley Cup Finals right around the corner. We got round 3 that we're going to be focusing on for the next week or two. And yeah, we'll keep an eye on all these matchups, keep the content going. Make sure you like and follow us on Instagram, TikTok, wherever you'd like to. We have content coming there, and yeah, we look forward to keeping things going to the end of this year. So do you guys have any final words?
Go Leafs, go.
Get out of here. I've been deprived of NHL hockey for 2 weeks, so I'm actually very excited to watch Game 1 tonight.
So Portugal doesn't have much coverage of the NHL action over there, I imagine.
The games are at 12 p.m. and 3 a.m. So I almost woke up to the end of that double OT game.
Was it on
Actually,
TV though? Did they have it on a channel?
Oh no,
Yeah.
there's no way.
Yeah.
They got no idea what hockey is, man.
Yeah.
They got no clue.
I think Portugal has like a roller hockey team, and that's maybe about it. They don't play much hockey there. But soccer.
Hockey, they don't even know what ice is.
High school soccer. They're playing high school soccer there. So
wow.
That's all that they focus on.
That's priorities for you. Different
yeah.
over there, that's for sure. Anyways, stay tuned. Thanks again for everyone for watching, and we'll see you next time on